Hey there, biology. So we're going to get our first at-home lab set up. And what you're going to need are 3 to 4 pieces of bread, as well as Ziploc baggies, one for each piece of bread you have, a way to label the Ziploc baggies. And if you don't have baggies that seal all the way, you're going to need to either tape them or use plastic wrap to kind of wrap up the bread instead of a bag. What we're going to do here is we're actually going to be looking at how bacteria and mold grow on bread. So I'm going to walk you through how the experiment is set up, and then I'll kind of try to cover any questions that I think you'll have. And if you have any more, please feel free to jump on the Google Meet or to email me. So the first thing we need in any experiment is a control group. So on my baggie, I wrote control in 8/27 because that's today's date. You will be doing this not on 8/27. And what I'm going to try to do is very carefully, with as minimal touching to the bread as I possibly can, I am going to put, which of course I touched all my bread this morning when I brought it to school. I'm just going to put a slice of bread in the bag. Now, if you don't have 3 to 4 pieces of bread that you want to use, feel free to cut one piece of bread up into pieces. Just try to touch it as little as possible, and we'll talk about why in just a second. So just put in my baggie. I sealed my baggie. For extra caution, if you want to, you can go ahead and put a nice big piece of tape across all of that so that even like little siblings can't open the seal. Then the next one, I labeled no wash with the date. Now this is where your experiment can deviate from mine a little bit, so please just watch this all the way through and then listen to my explanation at the end. So what I'm going to do is I take my second piece of bread, or a half of a bread, or whatever you have, and I'm just going to kind of like pet it and put my hand on there. I haven't washed my hands since lunch, which has been like 3 hours. And then I'm going to put it in that no wash baggie and seal it up. Again, if you want to, you can tape it up to secure it. Then I am going to use some hand sanitizer on my hands. We've been using my other one, so this one isn't even opened yet. Oh gosh, there it goes. And I'm going to sanitize my hands. That smells horrible. And let them dry as best as possible. That was a great face, I know. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of like pet my last piece of bread with my now sanitized hands. And I'm going to stick it in a bag that I've labeled sanitizer and seal it on up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my phone, or you can use a camera on your computer, and try to take a picture of all 3 pieces of bread side by side. And I'm going to keep that in my lab report, which will be in Google Classroom. There will be another video walking you through how that is set up. And I'm going to start taking pictures of these 3 pieces of bread every other day. So if you set this up on Friday, you would take a picture on Sunday, and then again on Tuesday, and then again on Thursday, and then Saturday. By Saturday, we should start seeing some real growth, but we're going to actually go ahead and be watching these until Wednesday. That'll be our final day. So Wednesday, let me get a date for you. Wednesday the 9th. So these are going to be up for a bit. Now, let's see if I can. I don't know if you could tell, but I just had some tech issues. Figured it out. Anyway, so now I have my 3 or 4 pieces of bread, and I'm going to take pictures of them every other day for my lab report. Your lab report walkthrough will be in another video, or at the end of this video if I can figure out how to put it all together. So the thing is, you want to store these away from where anybody may accidentally throw them out, where any of your younger siblings or your animals might get to it. And I want you to record the location that you store them in and how much light that location gets on your lab sheet. So for me in class, I'm actually going to hang these up in our windows in the classroom, or maybe on the front whiteboard. Probably on the front whiteboard. We'll do that instead. And then you'll be able to see how I set up the experiment. But if you want to maybe put them like in a sock drawer where you know no one's going to get to them, or on top of a bookshelf, that's totally fine. If you want to stick them in your garage, if you know that no animals are going to get to it in your garage, that's fine. Just don't put it in a fridge or a freezer. And you're going to put down that location on your lab sheet. And we're going to start noticing some things about what is going on with our bread in a few days. Now, you can do this experiment in a few different ways. Like I said, you can cut up the pieces of bread so that you're only using one piece for 4 different test subjects. Remember, 1 is always going to be your control. The next part of the experiment is kind of up to you. You're going to test a surface. Now, I use my hands, nice and easy. You can use your hands as well. Or maybe you just want to test like your kitchen countertop. So your next piece of bread, you would just kind of like put down on the kitchen countertop, maybe like rub it around just a little bit gently, and then put it in the bag. And then the next one you would do, maybe you use soap and water, dry it off, do the same thing, and see if that cleans up anything. And then maybe use like a Clorox wipe on the counter, let it dry, use the piece of bread. It's going to be up to you whether you want to do your hands, you want to do a different surface, maybe you want to try your phone, seeing how your phone is after you maybe clean it a few times, or some area in your car. For the purposes of this, we are not going to do anybody's like mouth or spit, or your feet, or anywhere in the bathroom, because those can grow colonies that aren't necessarily going to be great for us to be viewing and looking at all the time. So this is also a great thing you can do to try to get your younger siblings involved if you're maybe watching them and need to keep them occupied for a little bit. It's a fun little activity. So make sure you have a control in 2 to 3 other pieces of bread, completely sealed up and put in a safe place. I'll put a Google Classroom reminder on every other day so you can remember to take pictures. If you forget a day, then take it as soon as you remember and try to get back on the every other day train. All right, I'll see you guys in class.